Let's get right into it today. We're doing a NemoClaw install for Jetson Orin. This will work on all of the Jetson Orins, including Nano, AGX, and NX. Here I'm using a Jetson Orin Nano with 8 GB of memory. We're running Jetpack 6.2.2. I'm using a 64 GB micro SD card. If you are running only on the SD card, I would recommend a 128 GB one. Because Jetpack 7.2 is coming to the Orin soon, and NemoClaw is in its infancy, I would just run from the SD card for now. You can set your Docker volume to be on the SSD if you want. Before we get started, it's useful to add yourself to the Docker group so you don't have to use sudo with Docker. You should restart the session afterwards, but I'll just add the group in this shell for now. On the JetsonHacks account on GitHub, there is a repository named NemoClaw Orin. Clone the repository, then switch to the repositories directory. We'll scroll down to the quick start. Now we are ready to run setup. What we are installing here is really a three-part system: OpenShell, NemoClaw, and OpenClaw. OpenShell is the container runtime underneath this setup. It uses Docker to launch and manage the sandboxes NemoClaw runs in, and it provides the communication layer between those sandboxes and external resources. NemoClaw sits on top of that runtime and packages the pieces needed to run an always-on assistant in a more controlled environment. And inside that environment is OpenClaw, the assistant itself. So before we onboard NemoClaw, we first prepare the Jetson host and the OpenShell environment it depends on. First, the script installs node.js and the Node Package Manager. That is because most of the OpenShell, NemoClaw, and OpenClaw codebase is written in TypeScript, so Node provides the runtime and package tooling those pieces depend on. Next, it installs the OpenShell CLI, which is the command line interface used to manage the OpenShell runtime and its cluster services. Then it installs the NemoClaw CLI, which is the command line tool used to onboard, connect to, and manage NemoClaw sandboxes running on top of OpenShell. With the tools in place, the script makes the host and runtime changes needed for OpenShell to work correctly in the Jetson environment. On the host side, that includes configuring Bridge NetFilter and setting Docker to use the host cgroup namespace. It then builds a local OpenShell cluster image tuned for that same environment. In practice, that means using IP tables legacy in the OpenShell image rather than the more general default you would expect on a standard Linux machine. Finally, it sets OpenShell cluster image and updates .bashrc so future shells automatically use that patched image. At that point, the machine is ready for the NemoClaw onboarding step. First, we source .bashrc to set our environment variables. Then we're ready to onboard using NemoClaw. As part of onboarding, NemoClaw will ask which inference provider you want to use. One attractive option is to use your NVIDIA developer account to generate a free API key. If you do not already have an account, creating one is free. That gives you no-cost personal use access to a range of hosted models, including NVIDIA Nemotron, along with models from other vendors. I already have a key, so I will enter that. I'm going to go with Nemotron 120B. The second script, Onboard NemoClaw, is where the actual NemoClaw onboarding happens. Before you run it, it is a good idea to close any open applications. On a Jetson Orin Nano, the OpenShell and NemoClaw image build can use almost all of the available memory, so this part of the process benefits from giving the machine as much free RAM as possible. The script starts by checking the current memory and swap. It then tries to free memory related to the NemoClaw and OpenShell environment where it can. And it also cleans up any previous OpenShell forwarding or gateway sessions left behind from earlier attempts. Next, it checks the ports that onboarding needs and confirms that OpenShell cluster image is set to the patched OpenShell image created earlier. Right before onboarding, the script rebuilds that OpenShell cluster image. The reason is practical. NemoClaw onboarding can remove the local image as part of its pre-flight process, so rebuilding it immediately beforehand makes sure the correct image is present when the gateway starts. Finally, the script runs NemoClaw onboard, which brings up the OpenShell gateway and creates the NemoClaw sandbox environment on top of it. Once the OpenClaw sandbox is launched, you configure the policies that you want to use. We can select some of the common ones here. Select the list option to pick and choose. Pick the name followed by a comma. I'll just choose the defaults here. Then the policies are applied to the sandbox. And we're up and running, ready to go. Installation complete. Let's go into our sandbox. That's a little bit of an anticlimax. Let's see which version of OpenClaw we're running. They have releases just about every day. This one's a couple of weeks old at the time of this recording. Let's open up the OpenClaw terminal user interface. It usually takes around 3 or 4 seconds to start up OpenClaw. It's 7 seconds to bring up this UI. Might as well be friendly to start. It takes a couple of minutes the first time to respond because it has some setup to do. Also, it doesn't appear to stream in this configuration. The results all come back in one response, so it feels slower than what you're probably used to. We can take a look at the OpenShell dashboard. Remember, it's the manager running the whole show. We'll come down here and take a look at the logs. It looks really loggy. I think I made a mistake being friendly with it. I'll tell it my name. I'm glad you're here. Pound sand, dude. Hit Control-C a couple of times to get out. OpenClaw status gives us the health of the system. OpenClaw has a web interface. With this version, there's a bug where you have to pass it your token to the web browser for it to use. You can use this command to get the correct URL and open the browser. Now we're in the standard OpenClaw dashboard interface. I won't go into this here. I'm sure you're familiar with it if you use OpenClaw. If this is your first time, go set it up and start exploring. Note that you can get to the OpenClaw documentation through here. One more thing I'd like to go over while you're here is what happens when you reboot. You have to be a little careful here. There's a lot of people working on this issue. It changes day to day. We can see the NemoClaw container is stopped. One of the things that these scripts do is tell OpenShell what the base container is and its location. That means we have to do a little extra to start it. One other issue is that NemoClaw currently has issues with keeping its communication with a OpenClaw in a sandbox open on a restart, so you may have to repair the two to open the channel back up. I have a script which brings everything back up, but does not connect the OpenClaw to NemoClaw. OpenShell, NemoClaw, and OpenClaw are all very much works in progress. Sometimes it feels like building on quicksand.
When I started here, all there was swamp. Other kings said it was daft to build a castle on a swamp, but I built it all the same.
The restart NemoClaw script gets you most of the way there. When you see Gateway disconnect here, it means you have some work to do. The workaround has changed twice since I recorded this, so you're going to have to do a little research on what to do. Let me know if you want to learn how to attach to a local LLM. The scripts are in the repository if you are curious.
Let's say you have a software engineer or AI researcher and you pay them $500,000 a year. We do that all the time. That $500,000 engineer at the end of the year, I'm going to ask them, how much did you spend in tokens? And that person said $5,000. I will go ape something else.
Let's see, half my salary? I make $100 a month. That means I have to spend $50 in tokens. Let's take a look at expenses. $33 on wine, $33 on women, $33 on song. Waste the rest? I just don't see how that would work. It's crazy talk.